Hello everyone, this is Dan, and welcome back to our function transformations video series. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at quadratic functions and how to transform them or move them around. So, as always, we're going to do a little bit of background information and then we'll go right into it. So, a quadratic function is typically in the form of y equals a times the quantity of x plus p all squared plus q. Now, that's going to be a little bit difficult to do, so the easiest way to think about transformations is to put everything in relation to our base function, which is y equals x squared. And from here, we'll see how everything moves, and then you can use that for our answers or our questions. So what is the effect of a? A will determine if the parabola is going to be opening upwards or downwards. So if it's positive, it's going to open up, and if it's negative, it's going to open down. This will also determine how thin or wide the parabola will be. So if a is greater than 1, or if it's less than -1, so in other words, the absolute value of a is greater than 1, your graph will become skinnier and skinnier. And as you can see, in the top, we can see our graph becoming skinnier and skinnier with our blue and green lines over there, and at the bottom, with our black and red lines, our graph is again becoming skinnier. Now, if a is between 0 and 1 in terms of absolute value, or if it's also between 0 and -1, then your graph will get wider. So here we have our original with the red on the top and the purple on the bottom, and we can see by the blue and the green on the top that it's become a lot wider. And on the bottom with the black and the red, we can see that again, it has become a lot wider as we go from y equals x squared to 1/2 x squared to 1/9 x squared. Now we also have a q value, and q, just like in your linear functions, is going to be responsible for the vertical shift. So if it's positive, you're going to move upwards by q units, and if it's negative, you're going to move downwards by q units. Our p is going to be responsible for our horizontal shift. So here, if it's positive, it moves to the left by p units. And if it's negative, it's going to move to the right by p units. So let's take a look at some questions. The first one is shift the baseline graph upwards by 3 units. And if you remember, our baseline is just y equals x squared. So if we want to shift this upward by q units, or by 3 units, what we're going to need to do is just add 3 to the end. So we just do y equals x squared plus 3. And that's it. That's all we really need to do here. This will be shifted upwards by 3 units. Now let's try another one. Shift the baseline graph down by 4 units. So here we're going to take kind of the same q in the other one. We have y equals x squared. And we want to shift it down by 4 units. So again, we're going to just, or here we're just going to subtract 4 units. And so if we graph this one out, we'd have x squared like that. And if we moved it down by 4 units, you'd have something kind of like that. And so it just shifts downward slightly. Now we're going to try to make the graph of y equals 2x squared open downwards. And here, if you remember, a is the one that is responsible for opening upwards or downwards. When a is positive, it opens upwards. When a is negative, it opens downwards. So here, the only thing we need to do is say y equals negative 2x squared. And that will make our entire graph open up downwards. So let's do another one. We want to shift the baseline graph to the left by 1 unit. So our baseline is y equals x squared. And so if we want to shift it to the left or to the right, we need to use our p variable. So if you remember, we have y equals x plus p squared. And so p will tell us how we need to move this. And if we move it to the left, all we're going to do is we're going to say y equals x plus 1 squared. And this will shift it 1 unit to the left. And the last problem we'll do is we're going to shift it to the right by 2 units. So again here, our p-value is going to correspond to a lateral movement or a horizontal movement. So normally our baseline is y equals x squared, but we need to move it, and we remember that it's x plus p squared. And if we need to move to the right, we need to use minus 2. And this is for moving it to the right. So we have y equals x minus 2 squared. And that is how you can shift your graphs either up or down, left or right, how you can make them open upwards, or how you can make them open downwards, or you can make them open skinnier or wider. So I hope you guys understood all of this. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us using the Ask a Tutor feature or in our live lessons. I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.